We have gathered together 5 speakers from all over the country that are well renowned for their expertise in deer management, and we're going to try to learn from them. And right now, most places here in the Catskills have a problem with the deer population, and we just wanted to strike up this conversation to get everybody up on speed about all of these issues.
The morning is talking about the impacts that with forest understories and forest regeneration and how municipalities and how governments have dealt with that. In the afternoon, the solutions is a little different. It's more of a bottom-up approach instead of the top-down approach. Instead of the DEC handing down things, we're looking at the person who actually owns the land that deer live upon, which is landowners. It's still mostly privately owned. And you can talk about deer numbers all you want, but if you don't talk about the habitat, well, you really can't manage deer.
I think we've neglected managing our ecosystems to the point where a lot of creatures are doing damage, and people are fighting over what to do about it. And we have to re-educate people or educate them on what's going on in the natural landscape around them, and get them to respond in a way that gets us involved in managing that landscape.
Deer populations are a product of our own successes. So now we're having to deal with these successes, and how do we do that when you got state agencies involved, you got private property landowners involved, you got the deer involved, you got JQ Public involved. So that's why workshops like this, these kind of symposiums and meetings are important, to try to get a collaborative effort to take place to address the issue of overpopulations of deer.
If you look at the European model, if you look at New Zealand and other places around the world, they privatize free-ranging wildlife. And they are able to do it in a way that the population is sustainable, and they can continually sustainably harvest off that population, and it doesn't harm the population. The reason it's so controversial in the United States and Canada is because we've grown up with what's called the North American model, but the North American model is so ingrained in the wildlife management agencies and so ingrained in the hunting public that this is almost sacrilege. And it's to the point where we have been shunned by our profession in certain venues because of this idea.
Figuring out the best way to effectively manage deer, humanely manage deer, is a very pressing issue for economic questions and environmental questions. We want to make sure our forests are healthy, our crops are healthy, and humans are healthy as well.
New York State, the Nature Conservancy, did a study using Forest Service data, and they identified about 30% of the forest lacked sufficient regeneration, which you wouldn't necessarily all be attributed to deer, but deer were a major factor there. So this is on a grand scale, folks. There's not a single forest in eastern Long Island of any consequence that has any hope for the future. This is a conversation that's taking place not only here in the Catskills, but throughout the East. You know, white-tailed deer overabundance is a very difficult problem, and it's a problem largely that humans created. So I'm encouraged, by today's conference and in so many different communities where I meet good people who are starting to see that the failed models of the past, of locking up nature, kicking out the big predators, kicking out the hunting, has created a real ecological mess. And I'm really encouraged by this conference and the work that so many good people are doing.
You can't ask for better participation, and the speakers were excellent, the facility was excellent, everything went very smoothly, and I can't wait to take this on the road to different groups.